A supposed comet is catching the attention of some of the nation's most renowned scientists, as one Harvard professor is raising the theory this may actually be a piece of alien technology.
Three-eye atlas, this new object, in March 2026, when it will come very close to Jupiter.
It's not coming closer to us, but something wild just dropped anyway. Ray's astrophotography posted a video that flipped the whole Three-Eye Atlas story upside down, and people are already glued to it because what he captured shouldn't even be happening in the first place. We all thought we had a solid grip on this object, but this new footage says otherwise, loud and clear. Same telescope, same camera, same settings, same processing pipeline, and yet this thing refuses to behave. Instead of slowly brightening as it moves inward, it keeps snapping between states. One session shows a tiny, faint smudge in the sky. Days later, it's blasting off with colorful jets and insane brightness. Then suddenly, it shuts down and goes back to looking like a regular green comet, like nothing ever happened. Then it does it again. Ray caught this flickering behavior across multiple nights, and even crazier, inside a single 24-hour window. On December 8th, morning data showed heavy activity. By evening, the object was back in a dormant state. That's not a slow fade, that's an on-off cycle, and natural comets do not come with power switches. Hit subscribe, drop a like, and let's really unpack what Ray just exposed. Because if this object is turning on and off without caring about solar heating, we need to start asking what's actually controlling it. To understand why this is so unsettling, you've got to know how comet activity normally works. As a comet approaches the sun, solar heating gradually ramps up. Ice starts to sublimate, pressure builds under the surface, gas and dust vent outward, and activity increases in a smooth, predictable way. It peaks near perihelion, then slowly fades as the comet moves away. No jumps, no flickers, no drama. It follows the inverse square law: double the distance from the sun, and you get 1/4 of the heating. By November, this behavior should have been boringly consistent, but Three-Eye Atlas clearly didn't get that memo. By now, this thing should be cooling off and fading out, plain and simple. As it moves farther from the sun, solar heating drops, temperatures fall, and activity is supposed to decline day by day. That's the rule. Objects like this don't suddenly perk back up once the heat is gone. They're supposed to dim consistently, not blink like a busted streetlight. But Ray's latest data run shows the total opposite. He went back through every observation session, going all the way to November 5th, and spotted a pattern nobody noticed in real time. And once you see it laid out, it's impossible to unsee. This object keeps snapping between completely different states with zero connection to how far it is from the sun. November 5th, barely there, a tiny weak blob. November 11th, a little clearer but still dim. November 16th, full activation, glowing hard with colorful jets shooting out everywhere. Then, November 26th, it chills back down into a normal green comet like nothing happened. December 2nd, it fires back up again. Rotating structures, complex shapes, clear features popping out. December 8th in the morning, high activity is back. By December 8th, that same evening, it's dormant again. That's not how solar heating works. The sun doesn't pulse. Solar radiation doesn't flicker on and off like that. If solar energy was really the driver, we'd see consistent behavior at consistent distances. But Ray is filming the same object at roughly the same solar range, and it's showing totally different states just days apart, sometimes only hours apart. That's not noise, that's a pattern. Then Ray drops the line, mainstream astronomy won't touch. Nothing outside the object changed. No solar spikes, no surprise encounters, no gravity tricks. The comet already passed perihelion and is cruising a predictable path toward Mars and eventually Earth. That's it, which leaves one variable standing alone: the object itself. And this is where it gets heavy. Ray isn't cherry-picking clips. He walks through sessions across 5 straight weeks: November 5th, November 11th, November 16th, November 26th, December 2nd, December 8th. 6 dates, 6 clearly different states. And the pattern isn't random. It cycles. Off, slightly on. Fully activated. Normal. Activated again. Then toggling multiple times in a single day. Natural processes don't move like that. Ice doesn't sublimate and refreeze overnight. Vents don't open and shut on a schedule for no reason. Comet nuclei are supposed to be dead chunks of ice and rock. They don't self-regulate. They don't flicker unless something internal is calling the shots. Unless there's a mechanism controlling the outflow from the inside. Unless this isn't passive sublimation reacting to sunlight, then we're looking at something way more controlled. Not slow heating, not random venting, but activity driven by a mechanism we don't fully understand yet. Ray points out the contradictions buried deep in the data around 3I Atlas, and once you line them up, they don't make sense in a normal comet framework. One spectroscopic study found no hydroxyl and no cyanogen, the exact signature molecules scientists use to label something a comet. That data painted the object as chemically inert, basically quiet and inactive. Then, after perihelion, Japanese X-ray observations detected emissions that require those same molecules to exist. That's a straight-up conflict. The problem isn't the instruments. The problem is we're forcing a complex, variable object into simple boxes. Active or inactive, comet or asteroid, natural or artificial. But what if it's something that switches modes based on internal conditions we can't measure from over 200 million kilometers away? Now lock in on the most dramatic shift Ray documented. November 11th showed almost nothing. Just a small disk with faint structure, barely doing anything. Then 5 days later, November 16th, everything flipped on at once. Ray's reaction while processing that data says it all. He literally said, "I thought there is something going on with this comet." He explained that his mindset was, "I'm going to look at this comet all the time like this." He fully expected that brightness to stay. He thought he finally captured 3I Atlas in its true active state. But that's not what happened. The object didn't stay on. It powered back down, then back up, then down again. And when you look closely at what Ray captured on November 16th, it wasn't just brighter. There were multiple distinct colors spread across the coma. That matters. Different colors mean different chemical species venting at the same time. Green points to diatomic carbon and cyanogen. Blue signals ionized carbon monoxide. Red hints at hydrogen emission or dust scattering. Seeing all of them together means complex multi-source outgassing from different active regions at once. Here's the issue though. Those molecules don't just appear and vanish on 5-day cycles. Once they're released into a coma, they hang around for weeks. Gas clouds don't shut off overnight. They slowly thin out as solar wind and radiation push them away. You can't just turn a coma off. It has to fade naturally. Unless the source itself is pulsing, unless material is being released in controlled bursts instead of a steady flow. And that possibility changes everything. Unless something inside this object is literally opening vents, dumping a specific payload, then sealing everything back up again. That's the only way this behavior even starts to make sense. Ray keeps it professional and careful with his wording. But let's stop dancing around it. This should not be happening. A comet's look and behavior aren't supposed to radically change just because the calendar flips a few days, especially when the observations are done the same way every single time. Same telescope, same camera, same location, same processing pipeline. Atmospheric variables accounted for. These differences are not editing tricks or software glitches. They are real changes in the object's state. You can hear it in Ray's voice when he says, "I guess the day we are looking at..." That's not confidence, that's confusion. He's genuinely puzzled because nothing in standard comet physics explains this flickering stop-start pattern. So let's lay out 3 possible explanations, moving from conservative to straight-up uncomfortable. Explanation 1. Extreme rotation-dependent venting. Maybe 3. I-Atlas has an uneven nucleus with active regions only on one side. As it spins, those regions face the sun and light up, then rotate away and shut down. Sounds reasonable on paper. But for this to work, the rotation timing would have to line up perfectly with Ray's multi-day observation gaps. And the active regions would have to be so localized that when they're hidden, the entire object looks dead. Possible, but that geometry would be insanely specific. Explanation 2. Subsurface pressure cycling. Think sealed chambers under the surface that slowly build pressure, rupture, release material, then reseal and repeat. That happens on Earth with geysers like Old Faithful. But here's the problem. Geysers are powered by geothermal heat. Comets don't have internal heat engines. You'd need a continuous energy source inside the object to drive multi-day pressure cycles. Then comes explanation 3. Active regulation. Something inside controlling venting. Opening and closing releases based on internal thresholds. Temperature, pressure, timing. If this were a probe conserving resources, you wouldn't vent non-stop. You'd pulse short bursts, make adjustments, then shut down to preserve material. The on-off flickering Ray documented would actually make perfect operational sense in that scenario. And let's be clear, I'm not saying explanation 3 is the answer. I'm saying explanations 1 and 2 require increasingly unlikely natural setups. Explanation 3 just requires entertaining ideas institutions don't want to touch. Now here's where it gets really hard to ignore. The most recent observation. Ray captured data on the morning of December 8th showing high activity, spinning structures, bright emissions, complex features fully visible. And that moment locks this pattern in place like never before. Then Ray went back out that same evening and caught something even crazier. The object had changed states within hours, not over weeks, not over a full rotation cycle. Within a single day, it went from highly active back to a normal-looking comet in less than 24 hours. That alone wipes out the rotation argument. If this was rotation, you'd see a gradual shift as different regions slowly rolled into view. You wouldn't see a clean on-off switch, and it's definitely not pressure release either. When a large amount of gas and dust gets blasted out in the morning, that coma doesn't just disappear by nightfall. Ejected material doesn't vanish in a few hours. It disperses slowly over days as solar wind and radiation push it outward. But that's not what Ray saw. He documented a sharp, clean transition back to a dormant state inside the same observing window. No lingering glow, no fading cloud, just off. So the real question becomes unavoidable. What mechanism allows full activation followed by total shutdown in hours? What's removing all that material from view so fast? The only explanation that actually fits the timeline is active shutdown. Whatever is driving the venting isn't passive sublimation that simply runs out of ice. It's something that can be stopped, something that halts material release on command, something regulating output based on internal logic, resource limits, or parameters we can't see from here. And this isn't a one-off fluke. Ray documented this behavior multiple times across 5 straight weeks, including same-day cycling. That's exactly why the broader scientific community is quiet. Addressing this means letting go of the just a comet storyline that keeps everything neat and comfortable. Ray also highlighted a detail that deserves way more attention. Early spectroscopic analysis using the Very Large Telescope found no hydroxyl and no cyanogen, the exact molecules used to confirm comet activity. At that point, the object looked chemically silent. Then, after perihelion, Japanese X-ray satellites detected carbon and nitrogen line emissions that require active outgassing to exist. That's a direct contradiction. So which one is it? Is 3I Atlas venting or not? Based on Ray's flickering timeline, the answer is both. When it's activated, it vents. When it shuts down, it goes chemically silent. The signatures appear and disappear depending on the object's current state. That's not how normal comets behave. A comet's chemistry is baked in. You can't toggle hydroxyl production. You can't flip cyanogen on and off like a switch. These signatures should stay consistent across observations, unless the object has multiple isolated reservoirs with different compositions, and it's selectively venting from different internal chambers at different times. Unless this object has a compartmentalized internal structure, some regions packed with water ice, others loaded with organic volatiles, others may be something completely different. And whatever is controlling the venting is choosing which reservoir to tap each time it activates. That level of separation, that kind of selective release, starts looking way less like random space rock behavior and way more like deliberate design. Let's be crystal clear about what we're seeing right now. In a video posted just 10 hours ago, Ray documented systematic, repeatable flickering across 5 straight weeks of observation. And none of it lines up with known external factors. Not solar distance, not rotation period, not gravity, nothing. This object cycles between dormant and active states on timescales ranging from days to hours, completely independent of its environment. That leaves only 3 serious possibilities. 1. This is a totally unprecedented natural configuration we've never seen in over 60 years of comet observation. 2. It's a phenomenon we don't yet have a working theory to explain. Or 3. It's something artificial operating under internal control. Researchers like Ray aren't tied up in institutional politics or narrative protection. They document what's actually there. They collect consistent data. They follow patterns wherever they lead. And what Ray is showing right now is an object that flickers, that cycles between operational states, like something turning on and off, not like ice slowly melting under sunlight. The establishment wants clean answers. It's a comet. It's coming toward Earth. Case closed. But Ray's compilation blows that comfort apart. This object activates and deactivates regardless of solar heating. It can go from full brightness to dormancy in less than a day. Its chemical signatures appear and disappear based on its current state, not its intrinsic makeup. If this is natural, then comet physics textbooks need a serious rewrite. And if it's not natural, then there's a conversation nobody wants to have yet. This is exactly why independent observation matters. This is why researchers like Ray, who document behavior over weeks instead of snapshots, are priceless. If you value raw data over comfort stories, subscribe to Ray's channel through the link below. Support his work. Share these observations. Over 85,000 people have already watched this video in just 10 hours. That number shouldn't stop there. It needs to be 10 million. So what do you think is behind this flickering, rotation, internal pressure cycling, or something deliberately controlling the switch? Drop your theory in the comments, because this behavior needs real explanations, not silence. Smash like, subscribe to the StellarDrift channel, and make sure you share this video everywhere. Stay locked in for the next observation session, and we'll see you on the next one.